to another edition of our readings from Rumi. Um, Today, the poem we have for you is called "The Grasses." Now, I'd like to add to that title, which was given by Coleman Barks. I don't know who gives the titles, um, but it's about never brag of being strong. So Rumi is speaking here with incredible wisdom, and it takes some contemplation. It takes a moment to stop and think about what it is that he's really trying to say, what it is that he's trying to communicate. Because hundreds of years have passed and we live in different times today. So trying to understand his work with a contemporary lens has been my objective here. All right, let's get into it. Firstly, welcome to all of you who have been, and all of you that have been joining me regularly on this channel to talk about these things. Your views are welcome. I will be sharing mine, but you're most welcome to tell me what you think on the chat, and I'd love to hear from you as well. So please keep that in mind. I'm able to see you, read you your comments, and I'll take them up right here as we're talking. Rumi says here, the same wind that uproots trees makes the grasses shine. The same wind that uproots trees. We've had tornadoes, we've had all kinds of powerful winds that have ripped up houses and that have uprooted lives, cars, buildings, right? The same wind that uproots trees makes the grasses shine. This is, Rumi uses such incredible metaphors and analogies that it really takes us by, it takes our breath away to pause and think about what is he trying to say here. He explains further. The lordly wind loves the weaknesses and the lowness of grasses. The lordly wind, right? It's powerful, so powerful. Loves the weaknesses and the lowness of grasses. Never brag of being strong. So he's talking about us. He's not only talking about the grass, he's talking about us. He's talking about how we often cultivate, and we've all been part of this culture that tells us that we need to be strong, especially when there's troubles, especially when there's emotional, financial, social problems. We need to be strong. And it's terrible advice. I mean, sometimes it might be good, but for the most part, it's terrible advice. We've been told we need to be confident. And it is true that in this world, if you're confident, you get a lot more done, you achieve a lot more, you're more successful, and it makes a big difference. But it also comes with a price if you don't know what you're doing and if you don't know how to work with this so-called confidence. The price you pay is arrogance. The price you pay is an inflated sense of self. For most people who train folks in how to be confident, they will tell you you must walk a certain way, you must have a certain demeanor, you must speak a certain way, and then you must project with that a sense of confidence. But notice the word project. You are creating an image of confidence, not only in the audience and the people you talk to, but also in yourself. You're projecting not only for them, but for you. So, what is it that Rumi is trying to say here? Should we not be confident? You know, just as we have a car that we drive, and the car gets us from point A to point B, we have a mind and a body. And this mind and body work a certain way. The body needs certain foods, the mind needs certain things. The mind has an ego, the sense of self. And that ego is what keeps the mind together. If it crumbles, if you go into a place where the ego crumbles, then that would be called low self-esteem. It could go even further into psychosis, and it could go into all kinds of dementia, you name it. But the point being that um, the ego is what keeps the mind functioning. How you program that ego, how you use that ego is a matter of choice. If you buy into the story that I am who I think I am, if you buy into the story that I am my achievements, I am my body, I am my looks, I am my wealth, then the ego has been programmed with a false sense of self. I have nothing against being confident, but the false illusion that I am something significant is the cause of our problems. The truth is, what Rumi is pointing out over here, never brag of being strong. He goes on to explain it in a number of different ways, but I'd like you to have the perspective first. The idea being that we are an insignificant part of the universe. We are just a tiny, tiny atomic particle in the entire universe. We are nothing, and that is the reality. If we don't understand that, if we try to override that reality, we create a false illusion, an illusion that we then fall into, we then believe, we make others believe that I am something, I am important, I matter, I am significant. It's one thing to project that, it's one thing to believe that. When you project that, yes, you get a lot done. When you believe that, you become undone from within. I might be saying things that are very controversial and might upset you, so please listen carefully and try to understand the depth of it, and then I'd love to hear what you've got to say as well. We have to learn to manage the ego, not become the ego, not become identified with the ego, not become we need to have our possessions, but we need to not be identified with them. We need to have our body, but not be identified with it. The problem is when we identify with something that is not true. What is the truth? The real truth is that we are nothing, insignificant, tiny. And then, as he says, the wind makes the grasses shine, meaning then we shine when we embrace this reality that I am nothing, and at the same time, I'm in this world and I'm going to be something and I'm going to do something. But we embrace both these realities. And therein comes the idea of humility, humility over strength, humility over confidence, humility as the most powerful force that a human being can have. Let's read further about what he says. Rumi continues, the axe doesn't worry how thick the branches are. It cuts them to pieces. The axe doesn't worry about how thick the branches are. It cuts them to pieces, but not the leaves. It leaves the leaves alone, right? The leaves are soft and tender. The axe doesn't cut the leaves because they're soft and tender. In our society, softness and tenderness has been looked down upon. It's been seen as weakness. But that very same softness and tenderness is what makes us a person of empathy. It makes us a person of compassion. It makes us a person of love. You see, the world is diametrically opposed to spirit. The qualities of spirit that make us evolve and grow the most are the ones where we embrace the truth about reality and we embrace ourselves and the world with humility. From there arises great wisdom. From there arises great creativity. From there arises great love. If you want to know how to be in love with everything and everyone, then this is the secret that Rumi is talking about. A flame doesn't consider the size of the woodpile. A butcher doesn't run from a flock of sheep. So he's talking about no matter how big you are, no matter how big you think you are, life will come and destroy you. There is nothing you can do about it. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you have, no matter what you have done, no matter how great the world thinks you are, life and time will inevitably come and destroy everything that you have, that you are, and everything that you've created and everything that you've achieved. So, what is the way out? What is the way out? Is it about futility? Is it about thinking, well, then maybe I should just do nothing and maybe, it's just all a waste? No, no. It's about holding a contradiction at the same time, holding two opposite thoughts at the same time. The two opposite thoughts are, I am nothing and I am something. For the ego, it needs to believe that it is something. And at your heart and at your soul, you need to know, I am nothing. When you can hold these two opposite thoughts simultaneously, then you will enter into a different dimension. Then you will realize that your mind and your ego is there for you to use. You are not there to be used by it. That is the difference that will come about. What is form in the presence of reality? So what is this form? What is the form of the world? What is the form of the stuff that you have and that you've done and you've achieved? What is form in the presence of reality? Reality meaning ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is, and he'll come to that. What is form in the presence of reality? Very feeble. Reality keeps the sky turned over. You know how the sky looks like a bowl that's been turned over? Yeah. Reality keeps the sky turned over, like a cup above us, revolving, like with the clouds moving and with the sun and the moon moving. Who turns the sky wheel? The universal intelligence. So here we are, this tiny speck on this planet, in this universe. And above us is this incredible sky, like an upside down cup revolving. And who turns the sky wheel? The universal intelligence, or God, whatever word you like to use. And the motion of the body comes from the spirit. The motion of this body comes from the spirit, like a water wheel that's held in a stream. So, there's these water wheels, right? And then you have the stream that goes over it, and then it's turned around by that. It is only the presence of spirit, which is so tiny, soul, which is so tiny that you cannot see it with your naked eye, so tiny that you cannot even see it under a microscope, and yet it has the power to drive this entire body, to make the heart beat, to make the lungs breathe, to make this whole organism function incredibly. And the moment it leaves the body drops dead. There's nothing you can do at that point. No scientist, no doctor, nobody can bring it back. Once it has left, so there's times where it leaves for a moment, it's hovering, it comes back. Life comes back. But if that life chooses not to come back, then no one of this world, no technology, no science can bring it back. So keep in mind, it is that tiny little soul that is your true self. And your job in life is to meet that self. For all of us, there is one purpose in life. We keep looking for a purpose. We keep looking for something that we're supposed to be doing out here. Yes, there is a purpose. But that purpose is not that you should make your next $1 million, or that you should become the most famous person on earth, or that you should become a great singer, dancer, creator, whatever, influencer. No, that purpose is to find yourself. That purpose is to find the universal intelligence that created everything, right? Or God. To find yourself and to find your source. That is the purpose. There is no other purpose. Everything else is vanity, is emptiness, is shallow, is meaningless in the final scope of things. Because in the end, None of us survive. We're here for a few years. Lovely question, Amaribel. How do we find it? How do we find ourself? The reality is this: ourself has always been here. In everything we've been doing, we've been looking for ourself. In everything we're doing, think about this. In every time you buy a house, a car, a clothing, everything you do, you want what? You want to feel safe. You want to feel secure. You want to have a sense of adventure. You want to have a sense of living life to the fullest. You want to be able to look beautiful. You want to feel young. You want all of these things. If you really want them, you will not get your fulfillment in the world. The world will never fulfill you, no matter how much you have of the world. Nothing will fulfill you. You will keep wanting more and more and more and more. And the more you have, the more you want, the more you need, the more you desire. And you will look to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and all of it will leave you empty. It's kind of like eating sugar. It has no nutrition for the body, right? And it only ends up making you feel more sick, or drinking alcohol for that matter. You can drink and drink and drink, and the more you drink, the worse it gets, right? The more addicted you get to that substance, the more you keep thinking, oh, this will somehow it will fulfill my craving, but it doesn't. And the whole world is like that. Everything in this world is like that. So what do? Where do you find yourself? Yourself has been here waiting for you all along, all your life. Yourself has been waiting for you to realize that it's not out there, but in here. How do you get in here? That's the question. How do you get into this inner space? The truth is, you've been going there. You just need to hone in the pathways. You went there when you fell in love. You went there and that's why it felt so great. What was feeling great was not this person, because this person may have left your life, or this person may have come into your life, and now they've become like the normal, yeah, right, we've been together 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And that same excitement is not there. That excitement comes from within you. That excitement when you go into nature, that beauty that you see over there, that beauty that you experience in a beautiful meal or some lovely music, all of it is when something touches your soul. That is the place where you come alive. And when you come alive, that is where the magic happens. What does it mean, you come alive? It means something touched your soul. Something touched you so deeply that your soul came alive. Now, how to do that consistently, how to stay there consistently, that is the art. Not just random, not just chasing one illusion after another. To stay there on a regular basis requires a regular practice, a practice where you meditate, a practice where you are present, a practice where you've trained your mind to focus on that which lies beyond the senses. It is a training. It requires support. It requires mentoring. That's what I've been focusing on these days, is really sharing that wisdom with people. You can look me up and we'll talk about it further. But I'll try and share with you as much as I can over here. The inhaling, exhaling. So now Rumi continues here. The inhaling and exhaling is from spirit. See, the reason you're alive is because of spirit. And yet, have you met spirit? Have you met yourself? When you meet another human being, you think you know them, but you don't know them. You don't know them. You don't know anyone. What you know is their body. What you know is their mind. What they're telling you about themselves is simply about their body and their mind. But no one is telling you about who they really are inside, because if they were to tell you who they are inside, you would find out that you are no different than they are. You're the same, in essence. And yet you have a unique perspective and a unique journey. So we are simultaneously one and different. We are not just one, as many would say to you these days. We are one and different at the same time. We are divine and human at the same time. We are perfect and fallible at the same time. We are wise and foolish at the same time. We have everything and we are everything and nothing at the same time. You see, we are indeed a paradox. And it is in that paradox that lies the understanding of our true self. Because when two opposites collide and our mind can no longer understand either one, then we enter into a different zone altogether, a place that is beyond mind. The goal of all spiritual wisdom is to take us beyond our mind, to take us beyond thinking to the land that lies in this inner world. And actually all around us too. It's in everyone and it's everywhere. It's just that we're in our head, and this is the thing that is blocking us from experiencing the real self. This is the obstacle, and this must be conquered. So, in the ancient Bhagavad Gita, I don't know if you've heard of that, written about 5,000 years ago, the Song of God, Bhagavad Gita. I do a class on that every Tuesday. You can look it up on my YouTube channel. There, it's Krishna says, for one who has conquered the mind, it will be the best of friends. And for one who has failed to do so, it will be the greatest enemy. In many ways, we're living with the greatest enemy. And we must learn to conquer that. Rumi says here, the inhaling, exhaling is from spirit, now angry, now peaceful. Wind destroys and wind protects. Wind destroys everything we've created. Whatever people have created, when it's in the line of that tornado, it destroys everything. When there's a ship on the ocean and the winds come, they create huge waves and they destroy the ships that are on there. It's a miracle if you survive. Wind destroys and wind protects. What does the wind protect? That which is insignificant, like the grass. That is protected. It is never harmed. Then he continues, there is no reality but God. It says the completely surrendered sheikh, or the wise person, who is an ocean for all beings. So the wise person is an ocean for all beings. And this person who is completely surrendered to the divine, to God, will tell you this and this only. There is no reality but God. Everything else is an illusion. The ancient texts of the Bhagavad Gita, the ancient texts of the Vedas, have all spoken of this. They called it mithya, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, which meant that the divine, whether you think of that as an energy, whether you think of that as the universe, or whether you think of that as a being, God, that divine is everything. That is the only reality. Another way they had of expressing that was that that which is eternal is that which is real, and that which is temporary is that which is false. So think about that. Whatever you know that is eternal is that which is divine. And whatever you know that is temporary is that which is false. Try and use this yardstick and see what happens. What is eternal? Let's start with you. You're eternal. You existed even when you were in your mother's womb. You existed when you were a baby. You existed when you were an infant, when you were a toddler. You existed when you were a teenager, and you exist now as an adult. So all through that journey, your body changed, your mind changed, your habits, your likes and dislikes, all of that changed. And yet, you're the same person. You're not the same in terms of your habits and your likes and so on and so forth and your thoughts, but at the core, you're the same person. The core of you, that is same. That existed before you were born, and that will exist after you die. Bhagavad Gita also says, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these people gathered here, and never will there be a time when we shall cease to be. So in fact, the soul is eternal. You are eternal. I am eternal. We are all eternal. And that is reality. We are reality. Your essence is reality. Everything else, your body, is temporary, therefore illusory. The things you have, temporary, therefore illusory. The problems in the world, temporary, therefore illusory. Everything in the world is unreal, or Maya, as the ancients from India called it, illusion. And that illusion, today we are so perturbed about the things that are going on in the world, whether it is our politics, whether it is our health, whether it is whatever. All of that is an illusion designed to suck us in into unreality. Come back to yourself. Come back to the real reality, the reality that is who you are. And that reality is a fragment, a tiny particle of the divine of God. So therefore, Rumi says, there is no reality but God. Energy is reality. You know how Einstein also said that the energy is neither created nor destroyed. The same idea was conveyed by the ancients of India in the Vedas, where they talked about Brahman. Brahman was the energy of the universe. The energy of the universe is the same thing Einstein was talking about, is never created or destroyed, because it is the energy of God. The building blocks of this universe are energy, and that energy is God. Everything is God. Everything is built from that energy. You see? So therefore, everything is God in a sense. Everything that you see is like a wave in an ocean. It rises up for a little while and then it dies. Every plant, every person, every situation is like a wave. The waves rise and the waves fall. They will never last. Nothing lasts forever except the soul, except the energy of the universe, except God. Therefore, seek that which is eternal and do not get caught up in that which is temporary. Watch the temporary, be amused by it, be fascinated by how people react to it, but don't get sucked into it, because it will pass, like everything else has passed. Rumi continues, the levels of creation are straws in that ocean. The movement of the straws come from an agitation in the water. When the ocean wants the straws calm, it sends them close to shore. When it wants them back in the deep surge, it does with them as the wind does with the grasses. This never ends. So the universe has its way of shaking things up. And we react. We get freaked out. We become perturbed, agitated, upset, anxious, fearful, worried. What's going to happen next? How is this going to be? Will we make it or not? Is the world going to be safe or not? There is no safety here. Safety is an illusion. The human being needs safety. The ego wants safety. The body will not survive unless it is safe. And yet, there is no safety here. We are all born at a certain time and then we die. There's no safety. If you want safety, you will find it within yourself. Once you have found this inner space, you will find yourself safe under all circumstances. You will have no fear. You will become fearless. But the chaos in the world will continue. The craziness, the madness, the bizarre events that keep occurring from time to time, from generation to generation, from civilization to civilization, will keep on like the straws in the ocean, the way Rumi describes it. That movement that comes from the ocean, there are times where it is peaceful and calm, and there are times where it's crazy and wild. And that's all part of the ocean. And you've got to recognize this world is that ocean, and it will be sometimes crazy and sometimes peaceful. Don't wait for the ocean. Don't wait for the world to become peaceful. Find peace within you. This is the home of peace, not that. This is the home of happiness, not out there. This within you is the home of love, not in some person out there. This within you is the place of wisdom, not by reading tons of books and listening to tons of podcasts and so on and so forth. Within you lies everything you have ever been seeking. Come home. Come home to yourself, and you will find everything there. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to be able to serve and to be in your presence and in your company. I'm so privileged to be with you, and I thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. Join me every Monday. I'm here somewhere between 9:30 to 9:45, as usually when we get started, Monday morning specific time. And I also have other things going on. I teach the Bhagavad Gita every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific time on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is my name, Rohit Juneja. Just look for me with that, and you'll find me there. I'm also starting up soon a podcast and many other things. So we're getting there within this year. I'm also on Instagram at rohitjuneja.us. And yeah, look forward to having more and more contact with you. If you like reading, you can download my book, Loving Soulfully, from lovingsoulfully.com. And it's free. You can download it there. And I'd love to keep in touch with you. Lots of love, and see you in the next video.